It's different chairs.
They are different than the original. Those are the ones that were here.
Interesting.
These are the new. Some of us don't like them.
They're really low, right?
You see it really
I feel
far
like
in.
shallow.
They're little kids' chairs.
I'm
Also,
not mad, I just noticed something, this is so far down.
No armrest, right?
There's armrests on the.
Armrests. Okay, I'm going to start recording. All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 5:17. This is the February 28th meeting of the Climate Smart Kingston Commission. And excused today are Brad, Betta, Kaya, Zane, and Michael Darcy. And everyone else is here except for Melissa Iachetta, who I presume will be here, but we do have quorum. So we are starting. And we have a guest, Anthony Fitzpatrick. Would you like to make any comment for the public record?
No.
Okay, Melissa. All right. So are there any modifications to the agenda? Any, we move on to review and approval of the January 2024 minutes. I did have a couple of changes with the Richard editorial, but there was one.
Might have the name of
Sub-
something that wasn't.
Well, in the CCA Community Solar, and this was not a misunderstanding on your part, this was a misunderstanding on my part.
Oh,
So I don't know how you do that in the
I
minutes.
thought, correct.
You correct it. Okay, so, under the CCA section where it currently says discounts for energy supply only include, discounts for energy supply only is included, not delivery, that's incorrect. The discounts are on both
Yes.
delivery and supply.
Yes. Oh, okay, yeah,
Yep.
that's substantive.
Yeah,
Sure.
that was,
That's. Okay.
and then the other one I had was, under city fleet. There's a section where Ellie was saying the city has received $2,000 in EV charging fees over the past year. I just added EV charging fee revenue, because that's revenue that we've received. Any other comments or changes?
I think it's Climate Smart Kingston would have the S.
Oh, okay. Any
So
other
I
things?
spelled it out.
Just fun.
Oh. No, I apologize, I'm sorry.
All right, any other changes? If not, we need a motion to accept the January 2024 minutes as amended. Cal moved. Can we get Roberto second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Anyone opposed or abstaining? Okay, we have passed. Thanks. Oh, by the way, Jeannie is also online. Thanks, Jeannie, for being here.
Thank you, absolutely.
All right, so we will move on to old business refrigerants. I have still heard nothing yet from the state. So I have no report on the refrigerants grant itself. I don't know if we have any updates on anything related to refrigerants. Cal, do you have anything?
Just that, the countywide project for refrigerant collection is still coming together, and, Mr. Bosis is excited to be involved, so that's.
Oh, good.
That's a new development, which is good.
What would their involvement be? The
During the collection, the students who are learning about HVAC would be assisting the professionals who are doing the actual collection.
That's awesome.
And they might be able to help sort the appliances and things.
That's awesome.
Is that what's going on at Earth Fair?
I think at Earth Fair, it will just be people will drop off their appliances and they'll get brought to a central spot, along with the appliances that are being collected in other spots on
But
other
it's all the
days.
same program.
Yeah, it's all the same program. And so once they're all in the central location, there'll be a particular day that the technicians extract the refrigerant chemicals from all of the appliances at once. And the hope is that the BOCES students will be able to be present and help out and learn about the process, sort of hands-on.
Cool.
And maybe also be able to help sort some of the metals if that's easy for them.
Do you think it's pretty certain that there's not going to be a more intense level of activity happening at the Earth Fair itself?
I don't understand what you're asking.
The,
Like, will there be more promotion, which means more people bring stuff?
no,
Oh, okay.
is so like the big shebang of like the evacuation and all that is not happening at the
No.
Earth Fair, right?
No,
Okay.
no, absolutely not, no.
Okay,
No, you're gonna collect things as you have in the past, the question is gonna be where they get dropped off.
okay. But it hasn't been determined whether all that's happening on the same day, right?
It's not happening on the same day,
It's not,
it's
it's
not
gonna
happening.
happen after that.
Yes,
Okay.
yep. After the Earth Fair, on a different day, once the other collection events are also done, all of the appliances in one central location will have the refrigerants pulled from them at the same time.
Okay. Super.
Yeah, I don't believe that the location is nailed down. I
Yeah.
think that Melissa Everett's doing that, figuring out where to do it.
Right.
But yeah, you will do the same thing as in previous years with the collecting them. It's just a matter of where they get dropped off at the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super. Great, that's super good news.
Excited.
Anyone else have other things on refrigerants? All right, Repair Cafe,
The next one is next weekend, March 9th at Redeemer Lutheran. That's 104 Worth Street from 11 to 3. We do really need volunteers for this one. Jem, our kind of front of house registration people person, will not be able to make it. I'm getting LASIK tomorrow and I'm not sure if I'll have complications or what's gonna happen. And so I really would like people to help set up a breakdown. So if anyone here can come next weekend or knows anyone who can volunteer to set up a breakdown.
I might
Get some
be-
extra hands this one.
I might be able to, because Jamila's going as a
Okay.
coach anyway, so
Yeah.
I will just go at the same time and help.
Hi. are you here for the Climate Smart meeting?
Yes.
Great, welcome. I am unable to,
That's okay.
whoa, we haven't figured out pizza yet.
No, I'm gonna keep upfronting the cost until we figure it out. So
What's the address? Is it
104 Work Street,
104 Word.
Works, R
Don't
UURTS. Yeah.
Will you tell me whether it would be more helpful to have set up a breakdown volunteers and I'll do whichever.
Honestly, the setup is the hardest
Yeah.
because the space is in whatever space of it's almost like a Sunday school room.
Yeah.
Whatever space, if there's another event there or whatever, and then we have to move all of the tables out to their locations. Put collapsed tables that are extra in rooms.
Okay.
And then, usually at the end, they don't need us to put the space back in any sort of configuration. It's just kind of sweeping, garbage, yeah.
Okay.
You had a question?
I think I'll.
Oh, great, okay. Is your contact info in the notes somewhere or? Okay, if you wanna write your info on a piece of paper or something, I will send you an email.
What are the times?
11 to 3, usually I set up starting around 10 a.m. I've got it down to a T, so I could just point to where everything needs to happen. And, yeah.
Super.
Oh, and we will have name tags. Leslie and me are working on this under wraps down low,
Oh my God.
super secret, but we're working on 3D printed like hemp filament name tags that I'm really excited about. They're not gonna be ready yet for this one, but yeah. There's a couple prototypes out there.
Awesome.
Mhm.
And I would personally like to talk to you offline about LASIK.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hope you do as well. Good luck.
Thanks.
All right, anything else on Repair Cafe? Folks, communicate directly with Melissa on that one for March 9th. All right, outreach and education, Earth Fair planning is coming along great. Our next planning meeting is the 11th of March at 1 p.m. if anyone wants to attend. We have established a rain location. So since we have started working with Clearwater and the entertainment part has gotten so substantial, we've never had to figure out a rain location or anything before because we've always just canceled because we've never paid any entertainment. We've always just been like, we're gonna cancel if it rain. We now have a rain location, which is Hutton Brickyards,
Oh, are you having to pay for it or are they letting you use the space?
$0.
Okay, that's the
Right.
price to pay for that.
That is the price to pay. So, that said, we are, yes, dang, you're right. We are deciding on Thursday, whatever the Thursday is, the 9th of May at noon, whether to move. And if we move, we're moving the whole shebang, and it's all going to be moved over, all the stages, all the food, all the vendors, everything. We're still determining what the threshold will be for moving. Based on really what the entertainment can handle, what the stage can handle, how all that's gonna work. But we are thrilled that the Hutton Brickyards folks have been amenable to this and are providing it to us for no cost. The YMCA has expressed interest in doing this next year, so we'll have to see. We might not need it at all, and we might need it, so we'll see. Vendor promotion has gone out recently. I don't know, did you guys put out I saw the move around stuff, the emails thread with the Facebook stuff?
Yeah, I sent out an email to about 200 people, just like of various organizations across the area. And in the past, I put it on the Parks and Recreation Facebook page, and the city put it on their Facebook page. This year, I was instructed not to post anything on Facebook until the mayor releases an official announcement of the event, which last year happened in April. So until April, we've been instructed not to put anything on Facebook. But I did reach out to a huge list of people, and I've received 8 responses so far. 6 are vendors. 1 is the merry-go-rounds. We're confirmed for the merry-go-round, which is awesome. And 1 of them is the bike ballet, which is local Kingston. So
You got 6 confirmed today, the day you sent it out?
and yesterday,
That's awesome.
between yesterday and today.
It's really good. Anyone new?
Yeah, there's a home, like a clean energy home remodeling company. I don't remember the name of it. We have, I think everyone else is returning. So we have Cornell Cooperative, Duchess and Ulster. We have Lavos. We have Ulster Federal Credit Union. The clean energy home remodeling people. Is at 5, and I'm missing somebody. But
Somebody reached out to me about it. Oh, yeah, CCE reached out about it, so they must have been on.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, that person, she hasn't gotten back to me with her form, but she did express interest and I sent her the form. That was not CC. I got CC Ulster and I got CC Duchess.
Yeah, Jillian Matthews from CCE Ulster.
No, I talked to somebody named Mike from CC Ulster. I mean, it might be somebody different. I don't know. There's lots of people who work there, but
Yeah.
in 24 hours, we've gotten
That's super.
6 vendors,
Super
2
duper.
non-vendor exhibitors, so.
So, did you CC this commission on that email, or can you send it to this commission so people can?
Probably sent it to a few people. The email list was so long. Did you get it? You must have
I
gotten
got
it.
it on my work email.
You must have gotten it. Did you get it? No, you're not on it. No. Not everybody else, but I will forward it to everybody else.
And then people can forward it as this?
Yes.
Okay. Super. So vendors are coming in, that's great, and
Can I ask some questions
Yes.
about
I got
that? So I've
benefit.
been waiting to post on Clemson Kingston about the vendors till the city posted something. So now I should make a post
You have to wait.
and not wait. I should wait too,
You have to wait for
for
the,
the mayor thing?
yeah.
Until like
Oh.
April.
Okay,
Which-
I thought that was just the city's page, but I guess Clemson Smart is.
Well,
That makes
last
sense.
year, we did the press release in April, but maybe we can move it up so we can post it on Facebook, because I think people really hear about it on Facebook. And I made an Earth Fair event that had to get taken down because they didn't want it yet. But I made the Earth Fair event, and within like 5 minutes, like we had like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people like they're interested. It's just, it's a great way to get the word out, and I really like it. I don't see anything detrimental to putting it online right now. But I've been instructed to wait, so we're gonna wait. It's,
Okay. So I'll wait for the Clemson Smart page. And then the other flag I had was, I heard back about the merry-go-round, but the face painting is the other thing I'm waiting about the flyer for.
Who did face paint?
the River Rock, they haven't gotten back to me yet.
Okay. So like, do we wait
I would say face
till they
paint.
get?
We could find some random person that will figure out how to paint hearts on
Okay.
somebody's face.
Okay, so I'll leave it on the flyer.
Yes, great. Super. So the music the entertainment is coming together. We are going to have all that. Did you get the final list yet
No,
from Steve?
I didn't.
Okay. But basically, all the final information is coming together for enough for us to put out the marketing. So Melissa's pulling together all the final details that we're gonna be putting out. The poster's gonna be a little bit different. It's going to now have the entertainment on it itself, which is important. And we're still gonna do pound cards, posters, and lawn signs. So when they're ready, we'll let folks know that those need to go out. I did hear from the high school today, and they have students that are interested in participating, so I don't know if they haven't reached back out, but I'm hoping that they're gonna like help in advance and help the day of. And basically, besides that, we're kind of just plugging along. Sponsorships have come in. So far, we've gotten about $3,000 or $3,500 worth of sponsorships. I also got word from the mayor that there's some ARPA money left over as well for municipal events only. And there's not that many municipal events that need money, so he said that we could basically have what we need, because we need to obligate it by June, meaning this ARPA money has to be spent by a certain time, so we are not at a lack of money, so that is a good thing. What else would need to be brought up here?
I think the only thing I was thinking is for the promo, we're trying to make a more concerted effort this year and have a strategy. And so if you are wanting to be on the distribution team for the lawn signs and the posters, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna come up with a plan on those meetings or.
Yeah, so it's on my list to formalize the list of where all these things are going and assign people to it. So, I'll probably reach out soon to folks before we get it, while they're in production, to finalize like where are they going, who's going where. So it's not as casual as come to my office and get things and leave me a piece of paper that says where you went. There's just something else I want to mention too. I just went out of my brain at the exact same moment. I forgot what it was, so. Yep, don't know. Food is still being decided. We were kind of waiting on this rain plan because the rain plan is very contingent on what we do with other things. I guess that's it for now. We're like 10 weeks out.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Organizations like, educational organizations, do they have to pay for a booth or only vendors?
So if you are just exhibiting and not selling something, there's no fee. If you are selling something, if you're vending, there's a $40 fee. It doesn't come to our pot. It goes to the city general fund, but yes, you have to pay $40. And that is a standard city rate. We have not chosen to add another event rate on top of that. So basically for the event, they're not paying anything. They're paying $40 to get the vending in the park.
I'll also say, Climate Smart's gonna have a booth again this year. So I hope everybody can make it volunteer.
Was that combined with CAC last year? Or separate?
No, that's it. We had two Climate Smart booths. So we had one in the pavilion and then there's one over in the yard.
Oh, yeah.
That you ran. So we had two separate Climate Smart booths and CAC had their own space.
Okay.
I don't know if I reached out to anyone from CAC. I probably did.
They have talked about it at the meeting.
Okay, so maybe I did.
There's definitely an assumption that they're gonna be tabling. Cool. The thing I was thinking about was that if it's not our next meeting, something around that second week in March is going to be a site visit at both Hutton Brickyards to understand the layout, or potential layout, and at the site itself, the TR Gallo, to understand the layout, because we might change a couple of things from last year. We're working on confirmation with the busing. The busing will be a loop that goes to Cornell and the beach and down to the point, to Gallo. If it happens to be at Hutton Brickyards, it will be Cornell to the beach and to TR Gallo out to Hutton Brickyards for those people who didn't get the message that it moved. So that's Earth Fair. Lots of people working hard on it, and we will continue to do that. Anything else on Earth Fair for anyone who's been involved in the planning? All right, any environmental updates, Casey, Ellie?
We moved on from Winter Bird Watch to maple sugaring. We just did the last maple sugaring class yesterday, so that's also over. Maple sugaring was very successful. Part of the maple sugaring curriculum is to do snowshoeing as well, but we didn't get any snow, so we didn't get enough snow. So we didn't do any snowshoeing this year, which was a disappointment, but maple sugaring was fun, kids had a great time. Teaching how to use one of those hand crank drills, teach them about the history of maple syrup and stuff like that. It's a great program. And now we're doing owl pellets from owl pellets started today. They're going for about 3 weeks, and after 3 weeks, we are starting Forest Activity Center tours.
How's the registration for those? Pretty cool.
Very full, yeah. I haven't looked at my calendar, but I'm pretty sure we're on like every Tuesday to Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 classes a day for like at least a month. So,
Awesome.
big undertaking.
Any other youth engagement or outreach and education updates? Or not updates for you?
Just that the job fair at Kingston High School it's not till April, I think, but they're having a little more focus on G jobs. I will be there.
Is it on a Saturday?
It's on Monday evening.
Is that job fair for high school, like,
I think it's for the students, yeah, as opposed to it being just after high school for everyone. I think it's targeting the students. I don't know if the general public is encouraged to attend to like look at the tables also. I'm not
Like,
sure.
targeting them for after they graduate or like on
I
the
think
summer?
so, because I think it's a combination of things, because it's also, I think, trainings, I think it's like post high school opportunities. So I'm not totally sure. But I can pull up the email if that would be helpful.
Or even just, it might even be just like, these are some jobs that exist.
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
excited about it
that's what I will be doing.
Yeah.
I won't be hiring anyone.
for your opportunities.
I can send you more info about that if you want.
Sure.
Let me know your email.
Anything else on outreach or education or youth engagement? Okay. Clean electricity, so carbon neutral project and building decarb. I don't have any more updates on the carbon neutral project at this point. They're still working on the audit. But I will give an update that I did apply for additional funding to supplement the carbon neutral project. I applied through the Partners for Climate Action Decarbonization Fund, or whatever they're calling it. They got 70 applications with $4 million in requests. They only had $650,000 to award. And we're not one of them. So, they did say they were inspired by our project and they want me to actually participate. So what they do is they have funded a couple communities to be doing building decarb. And then those places also form this cohort that work together to like learn about building decarbonization. Not only do they get money, but they also build together. And they want me to be either part of the cohort or present to the cohort or have some role in it. They didn't give us any cash. So
Instead of giving money, you got another job.
instead of getting money, instead of them giving me something, I'm just not giving them.
Okay, cool, just checking.
Yeah. Not only do you not get anything, you owe us something. Well,
Good deal for them.
yeah, good deal for that. Does anyone else have other building decarbonization stuff?
The group that you applied to,
Partners for Climate Action, PCA. Right, municipal solar installations. Wait till you hear this. So, at the last time that I reported, I believe, yes, I was in contract negotiations with solar generation for the pool in the Rhino Center. That is still happening, those contract negotiations. However, since that time, now knowing how much money, let me take a step back. We originally had at about $820,000 bonded, which means allowed through the city for us to do solar installations in 23 and 24. These two that came in substantially less than 820,000. So I have a good amount of money left over from that project, like $525,000. And subsequent to that, the Clean Energy Communities Program, which we have been participating in for a long time, and we have several campaigns that are going on with, and we've received awards already, which is how I did the roof for the Annie Murphy Center. For that, I got $80,000 or $100,000 to do that. I also got funding, that's how we got funding to do the windows and the lights in this building. Because of the way that they're restructuring the program, and the amazing work that we've been doing, it seems as though we're going to be eligible for over $900,000 in awards. And that is because we've reached certain tiers of achievement for completing certain actions. So it's around $911,000, we don't know for sure, but with that 900 plus and the remaining money for my other bond, I basically got about $1.7 million worth of money that we're putting towards solar.
Okay.
So last week I went up on probably 10 roofs on municipal roofs, which was super awesome. And I went to 2 ground mount sites. So right now we're looking at 15 different locations. I'm working with 2 different solar installers for estimates. All of this would need to go out to bid. So this was just, give me a general ballpark of how much you think. And can we even do it? So I split all the 15 locations between 2 different installers. And so we have looked at and been on the roof of all 3 fire stations, the police station, the DPW garage, which is over here and is amazing and huge and the best possible option. It's huge and there's nothing on the roof. We went and saw the pavilion roof at Hutton Park, the pavilion roof, which is brand new, I did that last year, the pavilion roof at Hasbrook Park, which is brand new, I did that 2 years ago. We are looking at 3 sites at each stadium. So 2 new pavilions and 1 storage area. And we're looking at Wilbur Avenue DPW complex. There, if you look across the street from the Mountain Valley Manor, Mountain View Manor, whatever it's called, there's like a big grassy park there that looks like it has no purpose. That purpose will be solar. And there is a DPW parcel on First Avenue that is basically got a dumping area for millings and all other random stuff. And can no longer accept any more material and is not buildable and has no other city function. And it's about an acre and we are going to put solar there as well. So what's going to happen is I'm going to get back. So this all being said, the roofs weren't all super. In terms of age or condition. Some of the roofs, like the police department roof, although it's in great condition, has a million sticking up things on it. There's just like a million stuff that's in the way, and it's like, well, I can't piecemeal solar up here. But then other roofs, like the DPW garage, there's like an acre of flatness of amazingness in great condition. So the 2 solar companies are going to get me back their estimates. From there, what I need to do is I need to submit our estimates to NYSERDA, which is where the funding is going to come from for the clean energy communities. And they're going to say, yes, this is a great idea, go ahead. And then we will get the money. And then I will figure out of all of these places, these 15 locations that we're evaluating, which ones will actually work, that I won't have to redo the roofs on or are basically shovel ready. And how can I piecemeal all those all together to match approximately $1.7 million, which basically means in the next year and a half, by 2025, we're going to have $1.7 million more of solar installed on our roofs, which is crazy amazing.
That's wild.
Yeah. And so I haven't decided yet. Obviously, we don't know yet what buildings it's going to be and not be. If I need to look for additional buildings, there's clearly more locations I can use. I don't know yet if I'm gonna go out with like 15 different bids, or it's gonna be one big package. I don't know if I'm gonna do like rooftop and ground mount together, or one firm, I'll put out ground as one thing, solar's, or a rooftop is another. And all of this to be said, as I haven't factored in yet, the IRA direct pay, which is 30% rebate on all of this, which means I actually get 30% more. I could spend 30% more than $1.7 million, which is also crazy, ridiculously amazing. So this there's a lot of moving parts. What?
I said that's a lot.
That's a lot. So there's a lot of moving parts. We don't know the final number from Clean Energy Communities yet. You know, I don't know any of the numbers yet, any of the estimates on any of the sites. They could all come back and be like, we're not doing any of these roofs unless you replace the roof, and I'm not planning on replacing any roofs. So, we'll see. This is all got a lot of moving pieces.
Is it just for panels or batteries included in the?
Right now it's for panels, but the game isn't over yet. So the game should include battery.
Yeah.
Can at least make it battery ready,
Yeah.
or pick like something critical like the fire station, or something like
Also, if
be
the
a good
roof,
candidate for battery backup.
the roof doesn't work, but they have a bunch of basement space or whatever.
Right.
Stick that in.
Yeah. So yeah, that is probably should be part of the conversation, yes. And all of this is in addition to the work that we're going to, the renewables that we'll be putting in the Annie Murphy Center in this building, so those aren't even part of that discussion. And none of that is also including the fact that I'm already now in contract to do the Rondout Center and pool. So it's like a lot of solar going on.
Question, comment, so the 1.7 that you said,
Yeah.
that's like on hand, or it's promised to you?
So, it's two different pots of money. One is of the 820,000 that was bonded, I'm only spending, let's say, 300 on the two buildings that I have a contract right now. So that 500K is available right this second. So what will probably happen, because I think the mayor wants me to keep the money separately, is that I'll probably take all these estimates that I get back from these two solar companies and choose some things that add up to approximately $500,000 and go out to bid for those and spend the bond money and get that done early this year. The other money, the Clean Energy Communities money, the way that works is that they the program offers awards once you complete a specific action. Once you complete a specific action, you get a certain number of points. So you get like $400 for this, or 400 points for, adopting a unified solar permit. For doing New York stretch code, you get 600 points. For putting in EV charging stations, you get 1,000 points. For CCA, you get 1,000 points, whatever. Those numbers are not accurate, but you get a certain number of points. With this new 3.0 version, they basically say when you hit, 3,000 points total, we're going to give you $100,000. Well, if you hit then 5,000 points, we're going to give you $175,000 on top of the $100,000. If you hit 5,000 points or whatever, the next 1,000 points, you're going to get $200,000 on top of the $175,000 and the $100,000. So all of this to be said, we've earned 10,100 points so far. The highest in the state is like
12,000 something.
we're like the fourth highest in the state, and
But if we get CCA, we will be number one.
yes, and so the other three that are ahead of us, not that we're smack talking them, but they're Hastings on Hudson, which is in Westchester, Croton, which is in Westchester, and Bedford, which is in Westchester.
We got all the cash.
We got a lot of cash. But outside of Westchester, we are rocking it.
And they're all towns. We're the highest city, and no city can touch us. The second highest city is Beacon at like 6,000 points.
Right.
So
Yes, and for like one small hot minute, we were number 2 on the
for
leaderboard.
like 3 days, and I got a screenshot of it. I screenshotted it, so it exists in eternity.
Or one shining moment.
Yeah. So, as we reach these thresholds, so in addition to all of this, and I was on a call today, just talking about all this. We are also in a disadvantaged community.
That's right.
And the community, Clean Energy Communities Program says that disadvantaged communities get an additional 50% more on your grants. The money just keeps rolling into us. It's like, okay.
The money's.
Because I'm on a call today with these other towns, and they're all like, how are we getting $1 million? And it's like, well, we're doing great, and we're a disadvantaged community. And there's only 25 million available in the entire pot, and we're getting 1 million of it, basically. So the way that NYSERDA works is that whenever we hit this threshold, they're like, here's a grant. In the next 3 months, you need to tell us how you're spending it. So I have like multiple grants trying to be used at the same time. But I need to wait for them all to be awarded to us so that we can present it as one project. And so we need to then say to Clean Energy Communities, NYSERDA, hey, we're now eligible for 900K. We want to do X number of solar projects. Our estimate, which was, so we have to submit an estimate, which was done by a New York Sun installer. So both of the firms that I'm working with are eligible or whatever, certified. Participating contractors. So we need to say, NYSERDA, we talked to these companies, they gave us estimates on these locations, this is the amount of kilowatt hours, or, kilowatts we're gonna produce, this is the estimate cost, they're gonna say, great, you have this much available, and so, check, you can do it. And then they send us a check for like $1 million, and we spend it on stuff.
So.
Yeah.
When you have, sort of cash in hand, I'm sure like a lot of strings attached or covenants and stuff, but
Yes,
especially if you're looking at solar,
yeah,
rather than the city buying outright and owning it, and then probably then making it their operation, you could bid for power purchase agreements and take the cash on hand, put it into some sort of long-term vehicle, call it like a green fund or something, like whatever could be allowable, even if it's just like something modest, like a CD, but put it into some kind of vehicle that becomes like your green fund. And then if you're paying for the power purchase agreement, so you're just basically the main off taker, you're the host site, you're the main off taker of or the sole off taker of the energy, you pay for it as if it was an electric bill, but meanwhile, you still have this big chunk of cash generating interest.
but who pays for the actual installation?
The company does. The solar company, they pay for the upfront cost. They are the owner and operator, so they are on the hook to make sure that it operates for like a 15 or 20-year term. And after the 15 or 20-year term, ownership relinquishes to city, but then you've also this whole time you've kept that modest chunk of money in some sort of vehicle that's performing, and then you can reinvest it into other green projects.
But couldn't I do that now without any money?
Power purchase agreement, yeah.
Yeah, you could do a power purchase agreement without the money, but I'm just saying if you have all that, rather than going and buying and owning all the solar, which is a high capital cost, and you would basically spend all the money and own the solar, you could then basically sort of financing it, putting all the owning and operating for the long term onto the solar company. You're just the host site. And then if it breaks, you're not on the hook to they have to come and fix it because they are incentivized by producing, generating kilowatt.
This is done a lot with residential.
Yeah,
They do a lot.
it's a lot, there's a power purchase agreement, it's a very boilerplate agreement at this point.
What is it, boilerplate for municipalities?
I think, yeah, unless there's some law that prevents the city from
We can do
participating in that, so yeah.
In the grant application, in that workbook, there's an option that says, are you gonna own it or is it a PPA? And if we do a PPA, we get like 300 points.
There you go.
Points on points on
So-
points.
So you get your solar, you're paying, and you can maybe make a deal to also get the renewable energy credits from it, but usually they like to keep those to sell them on a secondary.
Now, they get a lot of the credit, right? In other words, they own the panels and they also own the electrical. They get the credit
It depends on the deal. If sometimes the installer developer, they want to keep the renewable energy credits, the environmental attribute in order to sell on a secondary market. In which case, you don't necessarily get credit for the renewable, you have sort of peace of mind knowing that you're getting it, but you can't double count and say, we're doing all renewable electricity while they've sold all the renewable energy credits, but that's a little conundrum, but it depends on your goals.
My goal is to minimize conundrums.
Yeah.
It's a small one, it's like, you can kind of say, we are supporting renewable electricity, although you can't account on, if you don't own the renewable energy credit attribute. You can't say, let's say it's on the firehouse, it's a power purchase agreement, and the solar company keeps the renewable energy credit, you can't technically say
Right.
the firehouse is netted out with renewable because they have kept the attribute. But you could always make the power purchase agreement part of that. You could say, we also want to keep the renewable energy credit, which might then increase the cost of like the electricity that you're getting. But then you can claim the renewable electricity is ours, and then you can retire the credits or sell them on a secondary market.
So they guarantee a certain price, right? In other words, they say that you can buy the electricity, and this is what it's gonna cost you, and then we keep the rest.
It starts at a strike price,
Yeah.
whatever that might be, 8 cents per kilowatt hour, so.
So then-
And then usually there's an escalator,
So
like
you'd
1
be
or 2%.
paying a consistent price for your electricity.
Right, so you're also then shielded from fluctuations in
It's not just the idea.
the price of electricity.
Cal wants to say something.
Yes.
I'm just curious, well, in my experience, the utility of a power purchase agreement is for folks who can't take it, like the primary thing that's most useful for is for folks who either don't have the funds up front or can't take advantage of the federal tax credits, which would be, like nonprofits, universities, things like churches who don't have tax burden. And so for them, it makes total sense to have somebody else who can, like a private investor takes advantage of the tax credit, and then they sell the electricity back, so everybody sort of wins, and then the church or whoever can buy the system at a discounted rate after however many years.
Yep.
I guess I don't understand, I think the second part is what I don't understand, like, so if you're not using the money that's been granted from NYSERDA and whatever to buy the solar system, because you're doing a PPA instead, what's the money going towards instead?
You have to find some sort of
Something else.
vehicle that the city is allowed to use, but I'm sure the city has like 401ks or other investment vehicles that they can do. It's like, if you have cash on hand, you take it and put it in something that will earn you more money than the cost of the electricity month to month.
I think we have limitations on how we can use the money.
I was gonna say, I
So,
feel like
but-
NYSERDA would say you can't put it in, that's what I'm curious.
Yeah, not
We
a
can-
401k, but if you pitch something to NYSERDA and say, we'd like to make a green fund with all these grants, we're still accomplishing this and
Yeah.
business case, they're usually pretty flexible.
We can do a custom project. It takes longer to get approved. When you do a custom project. The template projects that they have are solar, electric vehicles, HVAC upgrades. Either HVAC upgrades or building envelope upgrades, stuff like that. But there's no like green fund, project.
All right, well, this definitely is food for thought that we will talk to our clean energy communities coordinator about. I mean, it's obviously they're providing the option, I mean, clearly people are doing it, if there's a box to check for.
Well, that was on the workbook that we did 2 years ago for the Andy Murphy Center.
Yep.
But there's been so many updates to the program, it could be that that's not an option anymore, but it was an option when we paid for that. so.
Okay. Well, thank you for the mini lesson and suggestion, so Ellie and I will look into it.
If you got a lot of liquidity, throw it into like something that can make you more and off, don't buy all the solar, and you put that responsibility on them to own and operate it, and you host it. And prior to what you were saying, prior to the IRA, municipalities, nonprofits, they
Right.
could not take advantage of the 30%
Right.
investment tax credit, but now they can't. So
Right.
they need a third party to take it. Usually, if one of the bidders did a power purchase agreement, they would just do that on your behalf, so they would take the investment credit, but your strike price would also reflect that.
Right,
So
okay.
pass it through.
Wow.
Like, it would have been necessary prior to the IRA.
Yeah, now.
At this point, like, you can do it, but you don't necessarily have to. But that is an interesting.
At the same point, so
Right.
have them own and operate it.
Keep bringing them up.
I was gonna say, this is a long agenda item. I didn't know if you wanted to mention the Ulster County Mount Joe Green thing, or if that should be a new business, because it's not really installations.
This, the zoning thing,
The Mount Joe Green,
how'd you sold nothing?
yeah.
Yeah,
and
we're
the
gonna talk about
task
this,
force.
that
Okay.
under, the zoning part.
Okay.
Soul Spark.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else on municipal solar installations?
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, good problem to have.
Yeah. Okay, so CCA and the community solar campaign, a couple things going on with community solar. We are still pushing the community solar campaign in the community. Roberto, met up with one of our providers at Tilda's Kitchen, and they're getting
In
out there in the
Spanish, too.
community in Spanish and English. So that's still going on, so anyone who hasn't signed up or wants to spread the word, help to do that. And we, the city, are going to serve as the anchor tenant for the community solar project. So Ellie is working with Power Market to get them all of our accountants. And we're going to figure out what that means. We had a meeting the other day with council and Power Market to understand it's a 25-year contract where we would be the anchor subscriber of all of our municipal accounts. And so we're figuring that out. So what I now need to figure out, and it didn't come up the other day on the call, and maybe one of you very smart people in this room can explain this to me, is that the city just entered into an agreement to, as we have been for the last year. For the last year, we had an agreement, or we had a contract with Constellation where we bought renewable energy credits for most of our accounts. And we spent 11 cents a kilowatt hour on those credits, or on the for each kilowatt hour. As you can tell, this is not my normal thing that I don't understand anything about. So I'm probably using the wrong words. We thought by now we would be in our CCA, and we're not yet, because we don't have the Public Service Commission approvals yet.
Oh, interesting.
So we wanted to continue to make sure our municipal accounts were purchasing renewable electricity. So we entered into another agreement with another ESCO, and we're now paying 8 cents per kilowatt hour. That's just the background that I'm saying to you. However, so now you should assume all of our accounts are in an ESCO, paying 8 cents kilowatt hour. Why would I also do community solar anchor?
I don't think I understand anchor in this context.
So the community solar is when you sign up and you get 15% back on your whatever.
Right.
So
What
the
is that?
same Moores Hill project that is the rest of the city is signing up for, they needed an anchor subscriber.
Oh, okay. Like somebody to be an off taker for a lot of the
Yes.
credits so that they have enough.
Yes, and that is now us.
Okay, so the
Is that two
city is
different
signed up,
things?
the city is now, I'm just clarifying, the city is signed up for an ESCO essentially and also community solar?
Yes,
You can do that.
I know you can, but why would I?
But what is it benefit? Well, I mean,
Was that
if the
the
project you're trying to do requires someone to do it, then like that might be why. Like if the city has to do it for the community solar.
We don't have to do it.
You don't have to. Okay.
Tom just talked about that in the presentation.
I mean, the thing he said is that you can do both.
Okay.
Yeah. And that, so what is the price per, do you know the price that they're charging for the community solar power? It's probably comparable. Like you can do both. It's usually 15, like 10 or 15% less than
15%.
yeah. So I would just do the math, and if you're looking at here's what it costs from community solar, here's what it costs from the ESCO, like if you can get all of the needs met from just the community solar and it's better, then do that. And if you can get it all met from just the ESCO and it's better, you could do either. There's no reason not to do both, like except for financial reasons. So just
But then once I put solar on all these buildings, let's say we don't go with PCA and go with the
sure,
original plan,
yeah, sure.
then I would
You wouldn't be
pull
able.
up both of those things.
You can still have the ESCO with the solar on the roof. You just wouldn't be able to have the community solar. So
But why would I pay an ESCO for my power when I'm making it on my building?
you don't have to.
Right.
You can't. It's really, it's up to you. For example, if you have a big roof, the public works building has a big roof and they've got their own meter and all of the electricity from that huge roof is going on their meter, they're gonna have way more credits than is gonna get used at that site. So
Yes.
probably you're gonna have to figure out some fancy footwork, like who's gonna take those credits from another building?
Yes,
If you weren't able to do that, or sorry, the inverse is also gonna be true, where you're gonna have some sites where you can put up 8 panels and they need 30 or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
So for those sites, if you aren't able to sort of cut game and move credits from the too many panels to the place without enough panels, you're gonna need more power than the panels make. And in that situation, that's when you would have the ESCO as well as
yes,
the solar on.
yes.
Otherwise, there's no, yeah. Like at my house, we have solar, it doesn't quite cover all of our needs, so we also have an ESCO.
Okay,
Sorry, though, like, I don't know, if that was that clear? Okay.
yes, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I would just do the math.
okay. Yeah, so that all being said, Ally's working with Power Market to get them the rest of our account numbers. For whatever reason, right now, with this ESCO that we're using, our streetlights are not included because they've not been allowed to be included, and we're trying to get to the bottom of why that is. So there's a lot going on with that. I don't know if you want to add anything else with community
So I
solar.
have a question.
Well,
Ellie, come
Just that we hit the mark to achieve the third tier of the community campaigns grant for community solar, and we're getting $30,000 from our subscribers.
oh,
So yay. So that's all I have to say.
so how many people have subscribed?
I think it was 300.
and 550 is the max.
Oh, cool.
Alan, when using ESC,
Uh-huh.
can't you also get the 15%?
Uh,
From what they're, in other words, you're paying, let's say, 11 to an ESP, and if you belong to a community,
Oh, I can't have community solar because we have solar panels at the house. Yeah, so you can either have solar on site or you can have community solar. You can't make up the shortfall, in New York State, you can't make up a shortfall on site by buying community solar. The idea is that they want to save space in community solar farms for people who wouldn't otherwise have access, I think. In some states you can have both, and you can't, it's just state policy.
Okay, so that's community solar and CCA. I do not have an update about CCA. In other words, we're not approved by the PSC yet, so we're still waiting.
Bummer.
Bummer's right. All right.
To clarify this, the,
We're going to
First
clarify it. Let's
go
go.
ahead, I'm at you.
okay, the city will be the anchor tenant.
I don't know if tenant is the right word.
Subscriber is what I use,
Yeah.
when I heard the word tenant.
Well, because I just started using words I shouldn't.
Yes.
There's a lot happening.
Tenant right out, subscriber, and that would be with respect to Power Market,
Yes.
okay. And that's the ESCO that you're dealing with here.
No.
No, that's the
No.
community solar.
That's okay.
I don't know what
okay,
the
I'm
ESCO
totally
is.
confused, okay, that's the community solar. Who's the ESCO, if you're allowed to say it?
I don't know that it's been chosen. We're using like a
They're still-
broker? Is that what
Yeah,
it's
the
called?
broker.
Probably.
Broker.
Probably the broker.
Yeah,
Okay,
It's
I just want to
complicated.
teach you kindergartners about owl pellets.
Yeah, it's not you. It's not you. It's really very complicated.
I'll leave the discussion about the ESCO a little.
Okay.
Light in detail.
Light,
Very technical. Nobody needs that.
Nobody knows. All right, so solar zoning and Soul Smart we don't really have an update on, but the solar zoning, do you wanna talk about that?
Yeah, so Manager Green and the Ulster County Climate Smart has created a implementation task force. No, sorry, it's not through Ulster County Climate Smart, it's through the Ulster County Legislature. They've created a task force. The name keeps changing, so I think it's some sort of implementation 70/30. Basically, how is Ulster County going to be 70% renewable by 2030, which was in the Climate Act, which Manager Green has assembled some sort of like Avengers team of folks. Tom Conrad, who worked with NYCP, his clean energy coach is on there. Some kind of just like brain thinkers, I don't know who else. But with that, she's also using the solar mapping workshop me and her have been putting on to get as many Ulster County municipalities to participate as possible to then generate reports, which would then help influence the task force. And so the goal is to have the task force create a report by June, I think, have the summer for the Ulster County legislature to review it, adopt it, and then have 5 years to implement it. So she actually wants to implement, not just create reports. So she wants people joining the next series of the solar mapping cohort, which we just had our kickoff party last week. Our first session is next week, Thursday. Brad from the Climate Smart Kingston Commission is joining.
Great.
And Julie also is, not Julie, sorry, Matt is also trying her hardest to meet very closely with towns and create little like subcommittee groups. And so she also reached out to Julie, and I don't know who Ariel is.
Me.
Oh, no,
No, Azrael.
Azriel,
Oh.
sorry.
Sorry, that's also my name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Azrael Aileen is a colleague that has purchased the old city landfill at Jockey Hill and had a plan for a long time to develop it into a multi-megawatt solar farm,
Okay,
but that has.
so Matt is including them in on the meetings, and I think you all are supposed to meet tomorrow. She
Yeah.
just sent the thing.
Are you
I'm not gonna be there, I'm gonna be on my surgery.
All right.
But yeah, so she wants to meet with the city to see what we would wanna do to put a report together and be part of this thing. I keep telling her, it sounds like you are already covering as many solar bases as possible, but she's very insistent on this whole kind of holistic Ulster County approach. So that's what I know.
So, okay.
Did that,
Yeah, that was a good description,
okay.
but it doesn't really clarify for me what these 4 of us, which really have not much in common with each other, are meeting to do.
Get on the same page, I guess, about what Kingston has already done. Maybe some plans the cities has for the future,
Okay.
like, should Brad be looking at other municipal locations? Have you exhausted every possibility?
Okay.
You know, I told her that I met with the CAC and they didn't want to move anything forward, it felt like, with the solar mapping tool. I said that we talked with Kevin about zoning and adding language to the zoning code, so it just feels like there's these different pieces of a puzzle and Matt's kind of like
Okay.
trying to create a puzzle.
Okay. Super.
Okay, solar mapping question.
Yeah.
Do you know if the SOPIS has done it yet?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I can find out.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm on the environmental board.
yeah,
We had some people go,
okay.
but then the person from the environmental board who went, she left the environmental board,
Oh,
so.
Mhm. And some people went, but they didn't attend all 5, or they
They
missed
didn't
key
come out.
sessions and then they didn't do anything with it.
bummer.
Is there an update on what Azrael is doing at Jockey Hill?
Seems like that could be tomorrow afternoon.
You'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I won't be there.
Okay,
I'll find out
okay,
tomorrow.
okay. You all are aware that Azrael was one of our original commissioners on this,
That's cool.
Okay, so I'll provide an update on that next month. Clean heating, cooling campaign, anything, Ellie?
I still don't have enough permits to submit for the third level, but almost hoping to.
But we are going to be creating like a 101 guide on, or looking into if other ones exist.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna put something on the city website that's like, this is the benefits of, ground source heat pumps and stuff like that. Just so that there is a municipal resource on our website that relates to our campaign.
Do either of you two know if that kind of one pager exists somewhere?
Sorry.
Like a how-to.
Just
clean heating
like
and
benefits of clean heating and cooling and how to do stuff in your
Probably
home.
have loads of stuff.
Can you send me something?
cooling? Loads of stuff that you can just take and post.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have logos of
That's
other works and
That's
stuff.
okay.
Okay.
As long as
Something
we
we
can
can-
share it.
Like, stick on our website.
I'm sure Nigeria has something about that.
Yeah, maybe something from the hubs.
Or also RHN.
Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. Renewable email.
Can you guys send us stuff?
We have both made a note, one of us will have to.
It will be a race.
If
Whoever gets it.
you didn't have surgery tomorrow, you would win, but now I have a chance.
And is it okay to put the link to the solar training sessions in the minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't really officially announce it because I feel like I just exhausted
Yeah,
into
yeah,
this
that's
group
fine.
already, so.
That's fine, I'll put the link in here. I mean,
You
I
got
think
the
it
link for the
starts already, doesn't it?
Technically, but our kickoff party, which is optional, so
Yeah,
the first
okay.
session actually starts next week. on
Next
Thursday.
Thursday, right?
Cool. All right, moving on. So, clean hydrogen, I did talk to Roberto. We're going to table that until
Yes.
a future meeting. So we can have a spotlight on,
It's gonna take around half an hour to set it up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I didn't want to take any time from the meeting here. I just want to quickly say that I'm concentrating now to touch base with Plug Power. And they produce fuel cells and they produce liquid hydrogen. And, maybe we can line them up as some kind of resource and maybe even do a presentation. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but if we ever do anything in the future with hydrogen, it's the lineup, it's not a lineup. Backup.
okay, so we'll have that on a future meeting. Education and workforce opportunities and green jobs. Anyone have anything on that? Talked about job fair already.
Yeah, nothing imminent.
Sustainable mobility and land use. So Ellie, you want to tell us about how our fleet is doing?
Yes, so exciting news, we are procuring 2 vehicles, plug-in electric Ford Mach-E Mustang SUVs.
What?
So the building safety department was allocated $110,000 in their budget this year for 2 new vehicles. And we were able to procure 2 of the Mach-E's for $55,000 each. These vehicles, I think they have I actually don't know the all electric range off the top of my head, but it is over 100. I know that for sure. It's definitely over 100. Might be close to 200. Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. They're all-wheel drive, they're SUVs, they're in our budget. And so we put in a purchase order for these 2 vehicles last week. These are production spots, so the vehicles aren't ready. But once now that we've submitted our PO, we have our production spots secured. Ford is going to build us the vehicles themselves, and they'll be delivered in the fall, which is really exciting. So, and they're going to our building safety division for code enforcement. And they needed all-wheel drive SUVs because they got in all kinds of weather, and they're going up and down the hills when it's icy and stuff like that, so 2 new vehicles, which is exciting.
What color?
White,
White.
we said no red.
Well, yes, I asked the mayor because the county has these Mustang things, right?
Yes, the kind
And so when they got them, we were kind of like, oh, that's kind of not.
A little
good
flashy,
look.
you
A
know?
little
They
flashy.
have the works on.
So I said,
Right.
that was like a year ago, and now they're available again. I said to the mayor, like,
And they're in our budget.
can we do it? And he said, sure, don't get red, and don't get any spoilers. So-
I'd just like to make a comment. I think that the competition between EVs and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles are really beginning to start to heat up. So I just wanted to say that.
There was information about a hydrogen-powered Toyota. I can't remember what the make was, I mean, with the,
Hyundai.
was it a Hyundai?
Yes.
And there was information on the National Auto Fleet Group's,
Hyundai.
I think it was Hyundai, website. It wasn't available, but I looked into it and they have it listed on the National Auto Fleet Group's website, which is like the contractor that works with Sourcewell, the government contractor to get vehicles from municipalities, so, they have the hydrogen vehicle on their website now, which is pretty cool.
I have a quick thing on fleets. I spoke with the clean energy coach from NYCP who specifically does EVs, and he brought this up to me that he's talking with Beacon and would love to talk with Kingston, also probably you specifically, about sourcing EVs that have been leased vehicles for municipal fleets, so like 3 years old roughly, fairly new but not brand new. The cost is a lot less and they're very suitable for fleet vehicles. As a way of getting around like bottlenecks in the supply chain. If that's interesting, I would love
Yeah,
to
definitely.
help connect you
Meaning
with
they've
someone.
done it and want to tell us about it, or they're looking for
Samra-
information from
No,
us?
no, not connecting you with Beacon, not connecting you with Beacon.
Oh,
Samrat is talking to Beacon to give them advice and wanted to know if you also wanted
Yes,
like
definitely.
help doing that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'd be
great. All right, let me make a note. Let me actually just connect you now, so I don't forget.
nice.
Thank you. That's all.
Okay, the infrastructure, Ellie's got some information to present to us.
Yes, it was requested that we do a run through of the charge point data that I reported on at the end of 2023. Did a little audit thing, and I made a presentation. All right, so this is the cumulative data for the 2023 EV charging station audit. These are exclusively the charge point EVs. We have some charging stations that are not charge point, but this audit was exclusively for those charge point EVs, and they're municipally hosted charge point EVs in Kingston, EV charging stations in Kingston. There are some charge point stations in Kingston that are not municipally hosted, so they're not included in this audit. But this is data from our network of EV charging stations. And the purpose of this was just to outline the operation of our EV charging station network, to understand the usage patterns between operators of the municipal fleet and owners of private vehicles, and to inform ongoing efforts towards, increasing or expanding our municipal EV infrastructure, EV charging station infrastructure. So we have 9 stations. At the time I did this report, 7 were active. At the time of this presentation, 9 are active. So the 2 that are highlighted at the bottom at Block Park and North Front Street, their data is not included in this report because they were not online at the time I did this report. So the ones that are active, the Forsyth Park, Cornell Street, City Hall, Visitor Center, TR Gallo, the Building Safety One, and the Prince Street lot, those 7 have data in this report. And then over there, those are anticipated locations. We're looking to put those in this year, Deed Stadium, the second one at the Visitor Center, and the second one at Building Safety.
And I will note that one of the contracts I've been waiting on, that one of the awards that I've been waiting on with the state, I just got yesterday, the contract to move forward for the DC fast charger. So that's the Visitor Center, level 3 charging station. So we'll be moving forward that contract this spring.
So this is just a map, but I lay it out for everybody. The green ones are the active stations, the red ones are the upcoming stations. This does include the 2 new ones that are not in this report, so the Block Park and the Forsyth one are in green, even though their data is not in the report. And the next slide, can you just go to the next one? I zoomed in on the Strand just because those dots kind of laid over each other and it was kind of hard to see. So there is one at Building Safety, there's one at the Visitor Center, and we are going to install 2nd charging stations there this year. So it was kind of hard to see in the big map, which is why I zoomed in over here. But in terms of financials, the city has invested $217,915 since 2016 to advance our charging station network, our infrastructure. $129,993 in grant funds, specifically from the DEC's Zero Emission Vehicle ZEV program, which has been really instrumental in expanding our network. We have $45,807 accounted for in staff time, which is matched for our grants. And then 42,114 in subscription fees, maintenance costs, warranties, electricity, parts, all that stuff. So just all the maintenance stuff that we have to, do. So due to stipulations in the grant funding, this past February, in 2023, a year ago, we did implement a fee structure for use of the stations. Prior to this, the stations were fully free. Now they're free for the first 2 hours and cost 50 cents afterwards. This is not applicable to operators of municipal fleet charging city vehicles, but operators of private vehicles. So far, we've brought in $2,125.38. Actually, not so far. That was February, December. So that's not accounting for January and February of this year. But last year, we brought in that $2,000, and the revenue is put back into the city's general fund. It's just a visualization of the same numbers. On average, we are just under $200 in revenue a month, $199.80. It's just a breakdown of the city's EVs. We have 13 plugins across 5 departments, 9 in building safety, 1 in the assessor's office, which is also operated by other offices in City Hall. So IT, housing, and engineering all use the same vehicle, even though it's this assessor's office vehicle. The comptroller's office has 1 that's operated by parking enforcement. So even though the comptroller's office is at City Hall, the parking enforcement vehicle's home base is the Andy Murphy Center, because that's where the parking office operates out of. The police department has 1 plug-in, which is operated by the SRO, and the Parks Department has 1. And in the report I did, I wrote that the Park Chevy Volt was out of operation, waiting repair, but we actually got it back in the last month. So that is no longer accurate. That was in the report. The Parks Volt is back, which is great. And each vehicle averages anywhere from 10 to 80 miles driven per week. Totally depends on what they're used for, who's using them. Most are charged at their home base. Some are plugged into charging stations, while others are plugged directly into their respective buildings. So, for example, the Parks Department Volt and the Parking Safety Outlander are just plugged right into the Andy Murphy Center because there is no charging station there. And the city also owns 10 Ford hybrid police interceptors that are law enforcement vehicles. These are not plug-ins; they are hybrids. But since they're not plugins, their data is not included in the scope of this report. And another visualization of the same data. This also shows how much gasoline our plugins consumed in 2023, which was 449 gallons, which cost the city $1,167.62. So that's just gasoline consumption. So in the following section, we go through a number of statistics, and I will elaborate on what each of these statistics mean when we get to them, but these statistics are number of charging stations, the time online, the time charging, the time idle, total energy output, gasoline savings, and greenhouse gas savings for the entire network. And it is important to note that each charging station does have 2 ports, so some of these statistics can be reported on simultaneously. So for example, if you have like 2 vehicles plugged into both ports of one station for 30 minutes, the time online is actually recorded as 60 minutes, even though 30 minutes has elapsed. Those data points are recorded simultaneous to each other, individual ports. That makes sense. It's just a graph. You can skip right over that because we're going into the individuals. So charging stations. In 2023, there were 5,928 individual sessions. 511, 9% were by the municipal fleet, and 5,417 were by owners of private vehicles, 91%. So clearly the owners of private vehicles are utilizing our system far more than operators in the municipal fleet. The most utilized station overall was the visitor center, which was also the station that was most used by private operators. That's 99% of usage of that vehicle was by private operators. That's 1,564 sessions over the course of the year. And that station alone accounted for 27% of the entire network usage in 2023. The station most utilized by fleet operators is building safety, which makes sense because they have the largest EV fleet of everybody in the city. That's 456 sessions total. 86% were by fleet operators and only 14% were by private owners.
Are these all level 2?
Yes, they're all up to. So, time online refers to the total time that a vehicle is plugged into the charging station after the session has been initiated by the driver on the dashboard. So time online can refer to time charging and time idle. Time idle is when the vehicle is plugged into the station but no longer charging, and that time often occurs after the vehicle has received full power but has not been unplugged. So, 22,789.59 hours time online total, 43% by fleet operators and 57% by private vehicle owners. And I thought it was interesting that although fleet operators were responsible for only 9% of total sessions, they accounted for 43% of the total time spent online, which is a data point that we will examine more closely in the next slide no, never mind, 2 slides. So most time spent online overall was at the building safety station. That's over 8,000 hours spent online just in that station alone. 98% by fleet operators, 2% by private owners. The most time spent online by private vehicle operators, not the city fleet, was TR Gallup Station, which was 3,885.55 hours. 100% of the time by private owners. There was not a single usage of that station by fleet operators in 2023. So, building safety station was utilized for only 8% of total sessions. It accounted for 28% of the total time spent online. So, next. Now we're going to talk about time charging versus time idle. Like I just explained, time idle is when the vehicle is still plugged into the station but no longer receiving power. Yes. So, a lot of numbers on this, but let's see. So, in terms of the entire network of the 22,789.59 hours spent online, 51% total was spent charging and 49% was spent idle. So, about half and half. Private owners, though, only spent 13% of their time. Of the time charging, private owners spent 87% of the total time. I'm sorry, I can't even read my own writing. Private owners spent 10,389 hours, 0.94 hours charging, which accounts for 87% of the total time spent online. Okay. Operators of the municipal fleet spent 1,331.5 hours charging, which accounted for 13% of the time charging. Of the total time idle, which is the 11,068.2 hours,
49%.
67% of that time idle was spent by operators of the municipal fleet, 33% by operators of private vehicles. Private owners spent 80% of their time charging and 20% of their time idle, where fleet operators spent 14% of their time charging and 86% of the time idle, which is a huge difference. And it is something that we really want to prevent going forward, because all that time spent idle is time spent blocking the charging station from other people using it. And when I was looking at this data, a lot of the time spent idle by operators in the municipal fleet was over weekends, and sometimes even long weekends. So they're spending 2-3 days plugged into the charging station, not receiving any power. Of course, that vehicle's stuck there until somebody comes to move it. So it's a big issue. And it is an issue that is, significantly more prevalent.
How about the tickets?
We can't give our city staff tickets. Well, that's not up to me. I don't know. Take it up to the police department.
And that's the other thing, is that private owners are getting charged.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
A fee when they're idle.
Yes,
While
the city does not get charged a fee.
Okay,
This
you can
brings
charge
us not
them.
there.
Mhm.
City's
But
covered.
does
Yeah.
a lot of this come from the safety building?
Yes,
So this is like a combination of.
but also City Hall. There's also a lot of idling in City Hall. So
They're just leaving their cars overnight.
it's
What
like
is safety?
somebody uses it all day. They plug it in at 3:30, they go home at 4 o'clock. You can't really expect them to come back at 4:30 and unplug the car if they're off the clock. It's kind of a difficult situation, which is why a suggestion might be that vehicles should only be plugged in when they're, somebody's on the clock to unplug them. And when you're going home, regardless of how charged the vehicle is, it should be unplugged and moved. That's one suggestion, but we
also
haven't.
not to plug in every single day, if you don't need to.
Oh, yeah, you don't need it. Some of these vehicles drive for like 5 miles a day and then they plug them into the EV charging station at night. It's like, you really don't need to do that. Like,
It's like people plug in their phone out of habit,
Yeah,
like, oh, at the end
yeah.
of the day, I plug it in,
Yeah,
It's like, you don't necessarily have to do that.
So,
Well, you don't want your phone to not go off when you need an alarm in the morning, but for the car, it's not the same, for the car, it's not the same.
Attention.
big problem.
It may
Alright.
not be as scandalous as it sounds, though, if it's like all that time is happening at the safety building and
Oh,
the
it's,
public's
yeah.
not really
Yeah, we
getting.
never use the word scandal, just to be clear.
Read that,
A large issue.
Yeah, it's just data.
So
Right?
that's just dissecting it, it's like, it's all happening at the building safety.
Do car batteries work like phone batteries where if you have it plugged in, it will? Do you know
Charging
exactly
and
like?
discharging, the battery has a certain number of cycles over a lifetime, but if it's just idle and it's not charging or discharging, it shouldn't affect it.
What was the question?
Like how you will ruin your phone battery if you keep trying to get it at 100%,
Oh,
plugging it unnecessarily. I didn't know if it worked the same with cars.
Yeah, it automatically turns off.
There's some of that's.
Well, anyway, the Cornell Street station spent the most amount of time charging as opposed to idle, which was 91% of the time people were using that vehicle, they were actually charging. And of course, the most time spent idle, the highest percentage was at building safety. 85% of the time that something was plugged in there, it was idle. Energy output, in total, the EV charging station network outputted 69,390.28 kilowatt hours over the course of 2023. 94% of that was into vehicles owned by private owners, and 6% was into vehicles owned by fleet, by the city. The highest station output was at Cornell Street, which had 20,817.09 kilowatt hours. And the lowest station output was Forsyth Park, but the reason why that is because that station came online in May. So there's not a full year's worth of data there. If we're looking at the station that has the full year's worth of data for lowest output, that would be building safety. Gasoline savings, we saved 8,708.47 gallons of gasoline over 2023, 94% by private owners, 6% by the fleet. Highest station highest station savings, I should say, was Cornell, 2,612.53 gallons. Lowest station output, again, Forsyth Park, but again, because that station came online mid-year. And then greenhouse gas savings, we saved a total of 49,372.78 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent over 2023. Same statistics, because these same percentages because these statistics are related, but 94% by private owners, 6% by city fleet, and the highest station output was Cornell, lowest was Forsyth. And the greenhouse gas savings was calculated by ChargePoint using a standard conversion factor from the EPA that is applicable to all gasoline across the United States.
That would be a good socials post, just
this one?
in a fun way. Yeah, just with like graphics and stuff.
And in terms of conclusions, I think the two main conclusions we can draw from this are that the stations are used significantly more by the public than by city fleet operators. And so going forward, when we're working on our EV charging station network, that should, be geared towards what the public needs as opposed to what the city fleet needs. And additionally, fleet operators regularly leave their vehicles idle at charging stations for extended periods of time. So something should be done about that because you are blocking access to public infrastructure when you leave your vehicles there. So that's it.
Really tell it.
Really, really well done.
Thank you. So that's
Questions for Ellie? Share this with the mayor as well as with the common council. It's valuable for them to see this put together in a PowerPoint, although there's also a report. It's very, very clear and well put together.
I do have the report. I didn't know if I was supposed to circulate the report. Obviously I didn't. I can. Okay. Circulate the PowerPoint.
Okay. Any questions on that? EV campaign, any updates on that?
EV campaign, I've had a difficult time with our EV campaign submissions. They haven't been submitting the right information, and then I was missing documentation. That's all my fault. But I did submit for the first tier last week. So we have enough vehicles kind of stockpiled in our list to submit for all 3 tiers. You need like, I think 50 vehicles total, spread out over like 3 different applications. Right now, I've only submitted for the first tier, because I'm just kind of waiting to see if they accept it, because it's been rejected multiple times. And I want to make sure it gets accepted, so I can continue doing what I did, instead of continuing getting it declined, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
Go to all network. They
Yeah.
reject all 3.
so, my bad.
All right, so bike share update, this has, the bike share, one piece of legislation has moved through the council already. They did adopt legislation that allows e-bikes on municipal trails, so that was separated out. The second, set of legislation is whether or not, or, moving forward, shared bike systems. A draft of the legislation and the policy was sent out to multiple e-bike companies, and bike share companies, and they have provided comments on what can improve it, and would it be amenable, would people even bid on it? So we're taking those comments right now, and so an internal group of us are reviewing those. We have a meeting that's set up for next week or so to be going over those comments and refining that based on the feedback from the firms. And then that will go to the common council for review and adoption. Yes.
I made the requested changes. Where do I send that letter now?
You would send that to the chair of the Laws and Rules Committee. That might be premature. You should send that to Bob Dennison.
Okay.
Who is the Ward 6 council person, and he is the one who is taking the lead on this. He might also be the Laws and Rules chair, but I can't remember.
Can you say his name again?
Bob Dennison.
Dennison, like a person who lives in the place?
Dennison.
Okay, great. Later.
Like son of Denny.
What's that?
Son of Denny, yeah, that makes sense. Do I just find his info on the city website or something?
Yes, yeah. Great. All right, managing resources sustainably, Kingston Organics update. We are at 938 registrants, 428 families. We have reached 19.32 tons of food scraps diverted. So we're almost at 20. Really good. And all the locks have been sprayed recently, if anyone's been paying attention, but it has been a very mild winter, so it's not actually been that bad. Generally, it's going well, and I will also state that Ulster County sent a note today that they were awarded the Tiffin project that we wrote a letter of support for. So I got a note from Ulster County, from UCRA, and they said, you are receiving this email because you graciously wrote a letter of support for our application. They sent this to me as the chair of the Climate Emergency Commission. You wrote a letter of support for our application for the P2I Community Grants Program. We're excited to announce we've been awarded this very competitive grant to facilitate our proposal, the Ulster County Tiffin Project. You may recall that this project involves a series of free educational Tiffin distribution events, one event in every community where we have an established project partner like you. We are planning a virtual informational kickoff meeting that we'd like you and or other members of your organization to please attend if possible. Feel free to share this email with the appropriate person or persons from your organization. During this meeting, our recycling outreach team will present an overview of the project and discuss the important role of the partnerships in supporting this initiative. So, I plan on attending the meeting, but is there anyone else that would like to take this Tiffin project under their wing? Either with me or without me? Or should I do it? since everyone's jumping up and down, I will go to the meeting and we'll get back to you about what they need from Climate Smart.
I'm interested in Tiffins. I'm not like officially a member of this body or anything, but I'd like to. So.
Excellent. I will.
They said they would do a presentation, right? So didn't CAC submit a letter too? Or
I don't remember what it was.
I was thinking maybe we could do a joint presentation of whoever in the city did submit a letter.
I only got one note from them, so I'm guessing, oh no, because Emily Hauser would have got it. I don't. Yeah.
We did.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I'll keep you all posted about the ticket project. Tree tracker. So in our open space plan, we committed to planting 1,000 trees by 2030. And realized that now, multiple years after the open space plan, how will we know if we got to 1,000 trees if we're not counting? So we started a tree tracker, and it should have been live by now, but I don't think that it is. But it will be on Engage Kingston, and it's very, very simple. It's literally tracking how many trees we have planted since 2020 or 2018. Right now, I do know the number, and it is 331. We have planted 33% of the trees that we had committed to planting. And we are still 6 years to go. So that includes trees planted either by personal homeowners that submitted a dig request and are planting it in their front yard, which would be a street tree. Projects that the city coordinated like Broadway or Pine Grove or Franklin Street or Henry Street or any infrastructure projects where we planted trees. It includes about 100 that were done by the planning department because we got grants to plant trees. It includes Arbor Day celebrations, ceremonial tree plantings by Native American ceremonies, and a couple other private things. So we are a third of the way there, and I think that we have about 100 or 200 more committed in future projects, including like a ridiculous amount, like 150 just at Dean Stadium alone. So we're on our way, and you can look up Engage Kingston / probably tree tracker, but it's not live yet, so keep an eye on that. I'll let you know when it's live. Okay, green procurement policy.
Can I request an apple tree? Is that how it works?
No.
You request a tree?
No.
Never mind.
Are fruit trees allowed, like
Yes.
edible yet?
Put it in the notes.
I don't, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. The
Like
tree
there might be some
commission-
liability issues, like if someone eats an apple from a tree and gets sick.
I don't think that's the concern. The concern is that fruit trees drop stuff all over the sidewalks and the road, and then it
Yeah.
can become like rotten or slippery or whatever. So like if anyone lives near a ginkgo, a female ginkgo tree, you would know very much that they are stinky as heck and they drop fruit everywhere. But that's not to say that we're trying to stop permaculture in the area. I mean, it's just street trees themselves aren't super appropriate for fruit because of the interaction with the road. But there is a tree commission and they do approve and disapprove people's tree choices when they're doing them near the road. All right, green procurement policy. Ellie, do you want to give an overview of that?
Yeah, we collected a bunch of resources. So we passed the green procurement policy first of all. So the city is now part of the New York State Green Procurement Program. Across New York State, all state agencies have to follow this green procurement program, which just outlines like specifications for procurement. They have to be like environmentally preferable. And municipalities can elect to join. We elected to join. We are officially part of the program as of, I think, January 1st. We have collected, myself and Julie, we collected a lot of resources for department heads and purchasers in general to utilize when they are making decisions about their procurement. So like the green procurement program covers everything from pencils to garbage bags and all the way up to stuff like vehicles and concrete. And so there are obviously complications to that, you know, when you're dealing with an RFP and you have to write in for green concrete, like you have to like follow, you know, you need specific language for all of that and stuff like that. But anyway, we collected a lot of resources for green procurement. I'm not sure if any RFPs have actually come in yet for green procurement items. I don't know if you know.
I know that the purchases have been made, but not actual bids.
Okay, so some purchases have been made following the procurement program, which is great. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
It's a municipal program.
Something else that's going on, and this is something that has been identified in our climate action plan is, our food system, and I'm looking at our food system. The Health and Wellness Department, and I am collaborating with them on it, have gotten funding through ARPA and are proceeding with creating a food system plan for the city of Kingston. And there is a website, it's engagedkingston.com/food-system-plan. But it's basically a guide for the city to take meaningful, impactful, and sustainable action towards strengthening our local food system with a focus on improving food security and equitable access to nutritious foods. So there's a group of folks that are working with the consultant that was brought on, and the consultant is Food Systems Foresight. Their team, Food Systems Foresight. And they are a local firm that's going to be doing our food system plan, which includes things like evaluating what the current food system is, how it gets around, where does food come from, looking at everything from how it gets here to how it is disposed of, how it's equitably distributed, packaging, all transportation, all those different things. I'm serving on the project advisory committee for that, bringing in the lens of sustainability. There's also farmers and producers and restaurateurs and lots of other people. But they are having their first public meeting about it on March 6th. It's Wednesday, March 6th from 6:30 to 7:30 on Zoom and also here in City Hall. If you go on the website, Engage Kingston, you can find out more about it. Basically they are going to, their goal is to support the local economy, reduce food insecurity, reduce food waste, and increase community and individual health. So you'll see who the project advisory committee people are on the website, and their plan is to get this all done. It's an extremely ambitious plan. Their plan is to get it all done by the end of summer. So if you want to follow that and the food system work, you can do that, and I encourage you to go to the meeting. I will be there. All right, Kingston Point Park improvements. I don't have any updates, nor do I for Rays. Those are both in the, Rays is still not even in contract yet, and Kingston Point Park improvements is still in the early design phase of permitting, so there's nothing I can really report on that yet. I don't have any designs to present, nor do I have any designs for you to look at. We're proceeding with our flooding response, where I've been managing our comprehensive emergency management plan update. And I have a big meeting tomorrow with all senior staff where we're looking at our hazards. So what do we think our hazards are, our risks are to flooding, to hurricanes, to hazmat incidents, to active shooters, to disease outbreaks, to power outages, to train derailments, and everything in between. And so I'm part of this with a lens of resiliency, and this is something that we're going to be creating a formal comprehensive emergency management plan for the city and having that adopted. This is something that our city does not currently have and should have, and so we're working with the county on it and cracking emergency management on this as well. And flooding is a big part of that. The North Street building demolition and the kayak access, I have heard nothing from the state, so I have nothing to report. So there's no movement on that. I didn't have any new business on the agenda unless anyone has any new business. I will say that before we get to the announcements and other things, I am not available for the March meeting date. So we need to move it, and it cannot be that week at all. So if folks can look at their calendars, although I acknowledge that there's 4 people that are not currently here, 5 people that are not currently here. We could do, I can currently do any, either the 18th, 19th, 20th, or 21st. Can people do the 20th? Same time,
I can't, I
I
don't
can't.
trust.
okay. How about the 19th or the 21st?
I can't do the 21st.
How about the 19th? 19th at 5:15.
I can't do it.
No, on the 19th. About the 18th at 5:15.
19th and 20th, no good for me.
Okay, how about the 18th?
I can't do the
18th? 18th is doable. That's, well, I'm looking in March. Okay, well,
Are we talking about March?
We're talking about March. March 18th, 19th, 20th, and 21st. But the 20th, we've already got no Kevin and no Ellie. So the 20th is out.
I can make any of those times.
You can,
I can make any of those times work.
18th, 19th, or 21st, 5:15. Okay, so how many people cannot do the 18th at 5:15? Oh, 2, 3, okay, so that's out. How many people cannot do the 19th at 5:15? 2. How many people cannot do the 21st at 5:15? 1. Okay. So I'm going to send a note to everyone because I've got 4 other people that are not here to confirm if we could do the 21st, this would be 3/21 at 5:15. In the meantime, you can remove the 27th from your calendars. And I will, let you know, when we reschedule. Okay, so back to any, Ulster County Climate Smart Committee is, I think I ask this every month, who's going to that meeting?
Sorry.
So we have no report on that. But does anyone have any announcements, communications, events, or updates? Okay, social media postings,
I have greenhouse gas savings from this slideshow
yep, and the Repair Cafe.
in the Repair Cafe, and then I still haven't posted for more signups for Kingston Solar.
Yeah,
Community
we'll post
solar.
that, and the call for vendors for the Earth Fair.
We're not.
No, you
allowed
said
to.
When it
Oh,
goes.
for the love of God,
I
keep
know.
up.
That said, I would really like it if we could discuss at our next Earth Fair meeting, moving up our announcement, so I can post something about that, because I really think it's valuable.
Mhm.
But that's not about
It's
climate, that's not a climate smart thing.
I
that's
agree,
other
too.
thing, so.
The sooner you can announce it, the more likely people are to not schedule other stuff.
And I already emailed 200 people being like, the event's on this day, I mean, word's gonna get out, and if the
Yeah.
city doesn't put anything out, it's just
It
like,
looks like you're not
yeah.
organized.
I hear your frustration. Please be aware that this is not coming from me.
I know, I'm 100% no.
Okay, okay, so community solar, we're gonna post about. Okay, so the, I don't know, my brain just turned off.
So is it shutting down that?
Kingston Organics, you can keep pushing Kingston Organics.
Okay, I can do it.
All right, is there any other business?
Did you get a chance to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
No, I'm Jake Strauss, I'm Joe. I've been meaning to come to this for a long time.
Say your name again?
I'm Jake Strauss.
Jake Strauss. Jake Strauss, looking at you.
We've exchanged emails about Kingston again.
Are you hating it?
Huh?
Are you hating it?
No, no, that's great.
Excellent. Good answer. Okay, did you want to make any comment or feel anything about it?
I'm excited for the Earth Fair. Yeah, just exciting stuff going on.
Great.
Oh, I just want to ask, is there's some sort of like anti-plastics organization, are they aware of the Tiffin thing? Because they were at Earth Fair last year, they were at a tent.
What are they called?
Beyond Plastic?
Yeah, the last, sure to thank.
They probably helped organize it. We should let them know that.
They have a big
Do you-
presence in New Falls,
That's.
the chapter.
Was that the person who had the truck with the Tupperware in it? No?
I don't know.
So many
Do you
people.
have a connection with that group?
I totally
No.
missed that.
They were at the Ulster County.
Yeah, they partner with us with NYCP for climate roads, Ulster County Fair.
Yeah.
What is the name of the person that was the person was it?
Yeah, plastic.
Oh, Judy.
Wendy.
Yeah, you would be great.
Wendy, is one of their top people.
Okay.
Forgot her last name.
I can see if they're gonna be involved in the meeting, but I don't know. I don't personally feel like it's our responsibility to be telling the
Yeah.
other people about Ulster County's project, but
Yeah, that's right.
we'll see how that goes. I will suggest at the meeting if they are not there. If they're not there, I would suggest that they be part of it.
Oh, that sounds good.
Anthony, you have anything you wanna add? You good? Anyone have any other business? Not, we need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
No, we need a
Gotta
motion.
make the most of everything.
Roberto,
Motion.
do we get a second?
Second.
Kevin, any discussion? All in favor? Okay, 7:02. Have a good one.
Thank you.